In this session, I'm going to cover two concepts. The two concepts I'm going to cover is how to use a feature called Zoom and a transition called Morph in Microsoft PowerPoint. I'll show you the one I've already created and then we'll work on it, back engineer it. So let's take a look. So first one is the Zoom. So the idea of this one is that you have several slides. So in this case I have 3 slides that I'm going to give it an effect. So when I click on this one here, actually let me just run it first. So Shift F5 will run your slideshow from the current one. So at the moment you can see a little bit of, that's one slide, a second and a third slide. And if I click on this one, it zooms into it to take up the full width of the screen. So you talk about it as per normal. When you're done, you click again and it'll zoom back out so that you can see the group that you want to talk about. I'll then go into, let's say, this one here, and it again zooms in and takes up the whole width of the space. Click it again and it goes back out and in again. So you can talk about 3 or more slides at the one time, and you can bounce back and forth as you need to explain a concept. So I'll just show you how I've done that one. I'm going to press escape now. So these 3 slides exist in the presentation, and they exist here. I've created a section, added a section here, and called it courses, where I have each of these 3 slides. So here's the first one, the second and the third. The way this feature also works is they are links. So if I was to come in and modify one of my slides, it's not a copy and paste and then create a link to them. So if I was to come into this particular slide and add something else to it, when I run my Zoom again, Shift F5, you will see that this slide here has my additional information that I've just added. So it is live, it is a link. So that's one nice thing, there's no duplication that you'll need to do. I'll press escape again. So to create this effect, we create a new slide, just a new blank one will do. And from the Insert tab, we'll find the Zoom button. From the Zoom button, you can choose the option to slide zoom. So we're going to choose a slide to link to. So as you can see here, it says create a link to a slide in your presentation. So I'm clicking on that and then choosing the particular slide that I want to go to. Now the particular slide I want to go to is this one here called courses. I want to create another link to this one here and this one here. So I'm going to bring all 3 in at the same time. Click away from it and then position them wherever I like. Okay, so as I've got them there in position, click on one of those slides and you'll now see a tab up the top that now says Zoom. When you click on it, your ribbon will change so that you can see the Zoom choices there. This is now going to perform the Zoom transition. I'm going to ask it to then come into this second one here and return to Zoom. Return to Zoom means come to this main full screenshot. So I'll click on this one here and also ask it to return to the main full screen. And if I click on this one, also come to the main full screen. So now if I hold down Shift F5, When I click on this one, it will zoom into it. If I click it again, it'll zoom back out to the original page. Click on this one. Just by having three, it just means that I'm able to choose which of the two I want to go into next. And that could be based on the conversation that you're having with your audience and what each of those slides are about, rather than being forced to talk about this concept before you go on to this one. Maybe you can go either way depending on the discussions that you're having with your audience. Okay, so that's one way of using the zoom effect. If you had a background, you could go to zoom and ask it to zoom the background. In other words, have the slide blend in with whatever the rest of your background may be. This next effect, now when you're using this zoom one, by the way, you're not going to need these slides again, so you'll need to hide them for your presentation, or you'll create a custom slideshow, where these slides aren't shown. Only the slides, for example, 1, 2, 3, and 4 are the only slides that are shown in that little short sample, for example. And I have another YouTube where I will show you how to use the custom show and also how to use the sections area, adding sections, removing sections, collapsing, and so forth. Okay, so back into the Zoom, I'll give you another design idea. So another design idea for using Zoom. So in this one here, I've got 3 slides, and in fact, I have a 4th that I've repeated. And I've changed it so that instead of it showing me this snapshot, it has a symbol or a picture that will reveal. So in this one here, when I click on the first slide, it zooms into this one. Apply multiple formatting. How many times should I click on the Format Painter tool? And as a group, you know, they might say once, twice. So I'll click on this next one. Do you click once? Do you click twice? And then you could have that discussion in the group, hands up, how many think this, how many think that, and so forth. And then you could click on this one here, and then now the answer is revealed. Now to achieve this one, I'll escape. So I'll just replicate this one. New blank slide. So I'll insert those 3 slides again. So going to Insert, Zoom, Slide Zoom, and choose the slides that we need. So I need this one, and this one. So now I have all of them, and just rearrange them. Okay, and for the tick option, I need to insert a Zoom slide again. So a slide that says, do you click twice is the one that I want to choose. This is the one that's going to be revealed. But I don't want it to display as it normally does. I want it to be a different shape. Now, in order for it to be a different shape, make sure you have it selected. Click on Zoom, then click on Change Image. So we're going to give it a different image. Now that image could come from a file, from your stock images, somewhere online, or you can use some of the icons that come with the Microsoft Office suite. Now I'm going to go for, I'll say yes, there we go. This is the one that I like. Now, the next thing that we need to do is make sure that after we click on each of these, they come back to this view, the main view. So we need to always make sure that we're returning back to Zoom. So they're all going to have that little arrow there, and the number you're seeing there is the number of the slide where the actual real slide lives, so the link to the real slide. Okay, so now when I do Shift F5, click on the first one, how many times do you think? Do you click once? Do you click twice? And now we want to reveal. That was your answer. So the way we did that was insert, zoom, single slide, bring in all the slides. The next time round, because you need to bring in the same slide again, you'll need to do it the second time, and when you choose again, you're going to choose this one. And the difference is once you have the item selected in Zoom, you're going to change the image. All right, let's have a little look a bit further down. There's another one I wanted to show you here. See how that last letter has faded away? There's a difference between this slide and this one and the next one, and the only difference is the word twice. So the way I've done that, I mean, there's a few ways I'm sure you could do it, but the way I have done that one is to say what is different from this slide to this one here. And in the transition option, the option called morph, morphosis, changing, it looks at what's the difference between the previous slide and this slide here. Now, the only difference between that one and this one was the word, the last word. So I wanted to change the effect in the words and then select transition and morph. So it looks at what's different from the previous slide to this one, and it blends that through. Show you some more here. Another way we can do this one, so I'll show you the outcome first. So Shift F5. So I've got the wording here, baby stages, and then I've got what appears to be a picture up there, but in fact it's a link to not only one slide like we did before, but several slides. Now, in order to do this, you need to create sections, because what it's now picking up is all the pictures or all of the slides in that section. So you can discuss in groups, I guess. So for example, baby stages, I can click here, takes me into the link to that slide, and as I click again, it takes me to the next slide, and then it'll bring me back. Now, if you want to go to the next slide and not through these, make sure you're clicking in the actual slide, the main slide, rather than the smaller slide. So click here. Now I'm on the next slide, and we can zoom into these ones here. And come back. And the last one is teenage years. Okay, I'll just escape. So I'll show you how I created that one. So these slides here are coming from these sections. So there's a section here where there's two photos that I've labeled babies. So to create the sections, it's under add a section, and then you name it, for example, baby, and then all of the slides that you want in there, however many you might like. Then the next section and however many slides you like in there. And then the last section and all of the slides for there. Okay, so I just like to collapse them to get them out of the way. So in this example, so I'll come back up here. We'll go to insert, new slide. Call it baby stage. And under insert again, we go back to zoom. Now instead of choosing slide zoom, we're choosing sections. We're going to bring in a whole bunch of sections, a whole bunch of slides that belong to one group or one category. So when I click on it, you can then choose which ones belong to the baby section. You can see it says sections. It says baby, primary, and so forth. So section here for baby is all of the slides that belong inside that group or category. So whether it's 2 slides, 10 slides, 20 slides. Now I'll choose insert and then position it wherever I want it to be positioned. Once you have it positioned in the spot, remember to go back to the zoom tab in the ribbon and then ensure that it's going back. Return to zoom so that it gets back to this page after you finish playing. And pretty much repeat the process for primary school, teenage, and so forth. Let's take a look at how this went. So Shift F5 to run this one. Clicking on the photo. Clicking again to get to the next slide. So if I had another slide, remember it would be going to the other slide as part of that section and the next slide part of that section. When you get to the last one, it will come back to the main screen. This feature, Morphs, I'll give you another example. So in this slide, I have just the word 3 stages and it's set in the middle. The next slide will be slightly different. The next slide will have the word 3 stages, but it's up on the top left-hand corner, and then this Smart Art graphics is inserted in the middle. When I'm in this slide, under Transition, I'm clicking on Morphs, and it's set to Objects, so where there is changes in objects. So I'm just going to run it from the first one. So Shift F5. The word 3 stages is in the middle. When I click, it glides itself to the top left and brings in the next piece of information that's different. We do offer virtual training sessions. So if you'd like a virtual training session in any of the Microsoft Office suite, we're available to help you. Also, if you would like face-to-face training and you're located in Sydney, Australia, we'd love to come out and see you. Otherwise, make sure to subscribe so that you can get to see any new Microsoft Office tips and tricks that I provide.